What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Macho Movie Madness.
Oh, yeah.
I am Brandon. Alongside me always is Andrew. Today we've got a really cool one for you. It is Warehouse B number 62, and it is Tales from the Crypt. All right, we are back with Warehouse B number 62. This is Tales from the Crypt, and no, not the show, and not the movies that were based off of the show. This is the OG movie from 1972, and it draws inspiration from the Tales from the Crypt comics and other horror comics from that time period, which was, I guess, around as early as the 50s.
Oh, wow.
So this is actually more of a harken back to that. Funny enough, some of the stories we're going to talk about, because this is an anthology movie, much like Creep Show and Body Bags. This is the kind of, I don't know if there's anything else of its kind around that time. I don't know.
From what I'm reading here in the 70s, after this, they did a lot of those kind of things.
Okay, so. But before, is this kind of the grandfather?
Possibly, yeah.
Baby. And it's a British movie. An English movie. But this is really cool.
Made for £170,000.
Yeah, £170,000. And it made $3 million at the box office, which is amazing. Like I said, 1972. It was directed by Freddie Francis. And some of the stories that we actually are going to talk about here were adapted later in the show, the HBO show.
Oh, wow.
Or in some form. I think there's actually a minor difference, at least, and I know for sure in the first one where the ending was a little bit different, and I'll explain that when we get there. To start out, I guess we'll just talk about the plot. These 5 travelers,
all strangers,
happen upon this old crypt, basically, this old, and it kind of seemed to be a part of a tour, almost a tour guide, because there was an old man as a tour guide and a bunch of other people there. And they were all part of this group. He's leading them through these caverns, the catacombs, he calls them. And he said, don't get lost. Stay behind me. Anyway, she drops a brooch from her shirt.
It's always a woman to blame.
I know. Always. She drops this brooch, which will come into play later if you don't pick up on the plot twist at the end, which you probably should. But anyway, there's a brooch. She loses that. The guy behind her picks it up, and then they're lost from the crowd, just like that. And then they're led into this other area where this giant skull's on the wall, and the crypt keeper.
Not that crypt keeper.
An old English man in a robe comes out and basically tells them to sit down, and he'll explain why they're here, in due time. They ask why they're here, and then roll scene.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just go ahead and give the summary, and then we'll talk about the stories individually. And we'll get into spoilers now. One by one, it is revealed how the character, what the character did up until that point, and that they had died somehow in the end of that scene, that story, which led them to the crypt.
Yep.
One way you could probably deduce that this is something that is to come, and that he is telling them these stories because he knows in some kind of supernatural way that this is going to happen, and it's in their minds, and that you can change it. But you basically know depending on who you are, I knew pretty early on, being Tales from the Crypt, these people are already dead.
Yeah.
And that's what happens, plot twist, because the brooch that she had was given to her by her husband on Christmas.
Who she killed.
And that's in the first story, and we'll talk about it in a second. So it's already happened. She has the brooch, and so that basically tells you right there they're dead.
Yeah.
This already happened. So, and the only way you can say if they're there and it already happened and she's been strangled by this guy, well, they're dead. And it leads to them basically, fall into a pit of hell.
Yeah.
And that's it. And then it ends with with him looking at the camera, breaking the fourth wall. Who could be next? You. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Kind of cheeky.
It's cheeky, but it's cool.
Yeah.
Expect nothing less from a early 70s movie, much like the decor in this.
Oh, it's so bad.
So bad, especially in the first couple stories.
I thought we were back in Play Misty.
Everybody had a door leading from the corridor or the foyer to the living room, apparently.
Yeah, that was the thing,
at
guess.
At least in England. I don't
in Play Misty for Me, Clint Eastwood had a whole koi pond, so...
Yeah. In his outdoor area of his... I don't know, it was weird. Anyway, so we'll start off with number 1 by Joanne Clayton, a character Joanne Clayton, who's played by Joan Collins, famous actress from the 50s and all that, around that time. And really, between her and Peter Cushing, they're the only two that I recognize.
Yes. Some of the others I'd seen in other things, but I couldn't tell you who they were.
Right. And this is one of those stories that was actually later adapted. This is from a comic, and this is the story from a comic, and this was later adapted into the HBO show as well. The HBO show, the ending, was much like the comic book, in which the daughter let the killer in the house, and it just kind of ended with her shocked and screaming or whatever. And you don't see her getting killed. In this movie, you see the guy come in and actually strangle her. Which looked more like a shoulder massage, but
in this movie, I knew it was coming because she's like, "Mommy, look who I found!" And there's a killer Santa on the loose, and he comes and strangles her. But it still made me jump.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't even before. It was before she let him in. It was when he reached through the back door, and because it had the stinger music too, and that actually I jumped.
Yeah,
and I because everything is so quiet. They had a lot of music, and during this whole thing, there's a lot of music, Christmas music playing because it took place during Christmas time. And basically, it starts with her husband, who is wrapping up her brooch or whatever gift, and the greatest wife in the world, he loves her or whatever. He sits down, reads the paper, whack.
Little does he know.
Little does he know. She does not feel the same way. She hits him over the head with a fire poker and kills him over his insurance policy because she quickly gets in the safe to pull it out. And that's how you kind of realize the motive real quick. Daughter's upstairs trying to go to bed or trying to get her down. When she's in the middle of cleaning up or trying to clean up the mess.
Very calmly.
Yeah, very calmly. She's hoping the girl stays upstairs, but a special bulletin on the radio, much like the Killer with the Hook Hand or those old urban legends, a homicidal maniac escaped from the asylum, could be dressed as Santa and to be on the lookout. And wouldn't you know, the guy happened upon her house, and almost instant karma.
Yeah,
like she kills her husband, and then he terrorizes her for a second. The funniest and goofiest thing about this story, I like the story, and I like the setting, and I like the music, and all that. You got this classic Christmas music playing on the radio while she's just casually cleaning up her mess. She goes to lock the door. She hears something, and he's peeking through the window, or whatever. It's really creepy. She realizes there's somebody outside, so she quickly goes to the back door, and that's when he reaches through the storm door or whatever at her, and that's the stinger. That's the jump scare I got.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Well, she shuts the windows and locks all them out and locks the door. Then she proceeds to not worry about him at all.
Just kicks her husband down into the basement like a sack of crap.
She just said, "Oh, I need to clean up my mess still. That's more important than this guy trying to be outside, killing me and stuff." And so she has to make it look like an accident. So she pushes him down the basement steps and gets some blood and drops it around or whatever. And so she's still worried about all this shit. She gets it all cleaned up, and no more. She goes upstairs, and then, mommy, he's here, look. And he just peers through the curtain and then kills her. Chases her to the mantle and the fireplace, and then strangles her. And that's the end of that story.
That one might be my favorite one of all these. It's up there.
I think so, just because it just is so classic. It's good setting. It's more of that slasher horror that we like. And, I always loved the urban legend of the escaped mental patient or whatever anyway.
It was very Silent Night, Deadly Night.
It was very Silent Night, Deadly Night too, yeah.
Of course, that was 10 years after this.
Right.
Yeah.
Then the next one, and I'll have to get the names here because I can't remember. The next one's, that was And All Through the House was the name of that story. This next story is Reflection of Death. And this is a character named Carl, who is shown basically at the beginning stages of abandoning his wife and children to run off with his mistress. And they are in the car late at night driving down the road, and they switch sides, and she starts driving, and he gets some sleep. He's tired. Well, he's having this nightmare, and he wakes up shouting and apologizes to her. Well, not long after that, they basically have headlights coming at him. He's like, look out. They run off the road. He tries to overcorrect her. They run off the road, had this big, fiery, nasty car crash. Seemingly, he gets right up, crying, and like, oh God, Susan, and he's looking for her. He stumbles away from the crash, runs into this homeless guy,
who runs from
him in terror. Then he goes to the side of the road, and some guy stops to hey buddy, you're gonna get yourself killed. And then he sees them and he takes off. Then he goes home to see his wife,
who's remarried,
who's already who's got a guy in there, and she screams, shuts him out. Then he goes back to Susan's apartment, who has moved her furniture back in, who is alive, and then she explains to him, well, Carl died 2 years ago, and it left me blind, and he died in the accident. And he looks into the coffee table glass and sees the reflection.
He's a ghoul.
He's some kind of zombie. And that was that. It's kind of a short one.
It was okay.
Moral of the story, don't abandon your wife and kids for a mistress.
Right.
It ain't nothing but trouble. Then the third one is called Poetic Justice. There is an elderly man played by Peter Cushing known as Arthur Grimsdyke, which I love the name.
Oh, yeah.
Grimsdyke. And they're basically a man and his father live across the road from Grimsdyke. And they assume that he's like this
pauper.
Just this terrible...
Living in filth.
And so they basically derive this... They concoct this smear campaign. Because he likes to make toys for kids, and he's popular amongst the kids, and his wife had passed away some years prior. So he's been kind of living. He's got a job, and he is that's how he makes his living. He has dinner, had his table with his wife's picture in front of him. He talks to the picture, and he even uses a Ouija board at one time to talk to her, which is interesting. Yeah. But anyway, the smear campaign is started by them because they just can't stand the fact this terrible old man lives across the road. It's devaluing the property, the neighborhood, and they want to buy it for cheap. And just typical old rich snobby shit.
Yeah.
And so they concoct this smear campaign to turn the children against him, or at least the parents against him, so the children aren't allowed over there. They get him fired, and it all leads to Valentine's Day, where they send a Valentine's Day card to the old man from everybody in the neighborhood that has all this horrible shit.
Should jump in the river and drown.
Jump in the drown. Yeah, it's all these poems rhyming with him killing himself, or he's a burden. So he gets upset. Naturally, his heart's broken. He's lost everything. His wife. He's lost his job and the kids now, and he can't bring happiness to them by building them toys. And now he thinks everybody hates him. After a few days goes by, the son and the dad realize they hadn't seen him, and they go over to check on him, only to find that his house is spotless. It's nice.
Yeah.
He wasn't who they thought that he was, and they opened the door to his little workshop room, and he's hanging. He hung himself. And they pay for the burial because they felt bad. And then a year later, Mr. Arthur Grimsdyke rises from the grave and seeks his vengeance on the younger one, the one that started it.
Yeah.
And pulled his heart out.
Sends a Valentine to the older man.
Yeah. The old man, the dad, he has a beating heart on the table with on top of a poem. And that was the end of that.
I really liked that one.
I did too. I did too. I thought that was really cool. It turned out, I'm like, man, what the hell's... It's just funny how, as you watch, he's like, what the hell's going to happen? And that one was one of my favorite ones. The fourth one was titled Wish You Were Here. And this is about a ruthless businessman named Ralph Jason, who is very close to financial ruin. He is given basically a choice. You can sell all your shit to pay your debts. You can file bankruptcy. And bankruptcy in the 70s is a lot more dishonorable than it is in 2025. No one gives a shit now.
Declare bankruptcy all the time.
I'll be back. You ain't seen the last of me. I'll be back in 3 years
with a new business.
Yeah, I will be back with a brand new truck in 6 months. Fuck you. Anyway, 1970s, it was a lot different, and he chose not to do any of those things. So he goes home and tells his wife, who reminds him of all the shit they've collected across the world. This ancient, Chinese sculpture or something?
Yes, the monkey paw.
The monkey paw. And they reference the story of the monkey paw. And they basically have 3 wishes. And she's like, wow, just willy-nilly, just says, I wish we had a lot of money. Well, in the story of the monkey paw, including this one, somebody got to go.
Yeah.
And he dies in what seemingly is a car accident on the way back to work. About, his friend calls him back, his advisor calls him back, says about money, come on in. He dies.
So she inherits a lot of money.
Not to mention this guy, this ghoulish looking skeleton masked bike rider following behind him. He sees him in the rearview mirror, and then all of a sudden he's dead. Yeah. And anyway, so now because of his insurance policy, they've got a shit ton of money. Well, she's like, oh God, this is my fault. This is what happened. I need to wish him back. And he's like, no, you don't understand. And Monkey's Paw, if you wish him back, their son came back grotesque. Well, I'll be careful with what I say. Yeah, I'll wish him back just in the normal state he was in before the car accident. And they bring him in on a casket on the second wish. He's like, he's going to be grotesque. And he's going to be mangled up. And the guy, the Crypt Keepers or whatever, is like, mangled? He died of a heart attack. Yeah. So she wishes him back alive and healthy forever. Well, I was thinking, I didn't catch that part. I only caught the forever part. I'm like, oh God. And so he wakes up, but he comes out of this casket and he's writhing in pain. I'm like, oh my God, he's like having a forever heart attack. He's in this loop of heart attack. No, he is stuffed full of embalming fluid. So he's in.
And my wife called it.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't think about that at all. But yeah, the man's like, he's been embalmed. Oh no! So she's like, she decides.
It was goofy.
Yeah, it was very goofy. So she pulls a katana off the wall that they've collected and goes to dismember him to put him out of his misery. And he's like, you can't kill him because you wished him alive forever. So yeah, it was really goofy. Anyway, that was his story. And the last but not least, they get a little weaker, I think, as they go. Last but not least, you think you'd end on a good one, was called Blind Alleys. And this is about a major in the army becoming a new director of a home for the blind. And he exploits his position there. He's kind of an asshole. They do a lot of budget cuts. So they turn the heat off a certain time of night. They don't get new blankets.
Very little to eat.
Very little to eat. They ration the food even more so, and it's all shit. And so they start getting pissed off. Well, one of the poor old men ends up dying because he becomes very ill, and they didn't get a doctor, and it was too cold. So he dies, and that basically incites a blind riot. Mm-hmm. Well, organized, I should say. It's not really a riot, it's more organized. And they have, and this major's got a dog named Shane, a German Shepherd, who's very mean when he's hungry. They basically lock them in they lure them in 2 separate rooms and lock them in the basement in 2 separate rooms and starve them for a couple days. Then they concoct this sort of hallway, this maze of shit with little razor blades attached to the wall, all kinds of shit. And they let him out and let the dog out at the same time, who's forgotten who he was at this point because he's so damn hungry and starved. Yeah. That he is attacked and killed by his own dog and eaten by his own dog. Still probably the weakest, I would say.
One of the weaker ones.
One of the weaker ones.
Yeah, the first and the third are the 2 that I really enjoyed.
Yeah. The second one was okay. It's kind of a funny,
it was just so short there wasn't much to it.
No, it was just that really felt like a campfire tale.
Yeah.
Like something you just scare your buddies with, an old campfire story or something. But yeah, the last 2 were just I guess, so you think the first one's probably your favorite?
The first one or the Grimstyke one, and I think it was a little bit too long, so probably the first one.
Yeah, it was a little bit too long. I agree with you. It's definitely 1 and 2 for me.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say about this? That you went pros and cons?
No, I thought it was pretty good. And of course, the end, whenever they go into eternal hellfire, that's going to look bad. It was 1972.
Yeah. Well, and it does, I guess, beg the question, like, why do all of these things really justify being burned in hell for your entire life, or in some kind of loop until your soul's cleansed? Because Ralph was a cutthroat businessman, but we don't know how cutthroat.
It wasn't really shown.
There was a little exposition saying, well, sometimes I had to hurt people to get, okay, Carl, I don't know if abandoning your wife and kids is hell worthy necessarily. Maybe it is
to go adultery to a mistress.
Well, okay,
Old Testament wise, I would say.
Okay,
so.
okay, I'll give you that. I guess in 2025 it's just so different. But
yeah.
No, okay, so we can say that. But I mean, money is greed, I guess. I mean, so maybe, but some of them you're just like, the guy who deserved it the most, 100. Well,
the guy in the last story?
No, that was awful. That was awful. But it's not that I don't think he's awful. He probably got a worse punishment than by getting eaten
by your own dog.
By your own dog. It's probably worse punishment than it's. I'm not saying that it doesn't quite equate. I'm not saying that you couldn't kill him, or beat him up a lot. But I just don't know if it, now the one guy did die, the old man, the negligence probably maybe led to his illness. But I don't know. Maybe I can talk myself into believing that's okay. But I think the one who deserved it the most was the guy who sent a bunch of Valentine's Day cards to an old man until he hung himself.
Yeah.
And of course the woman for killing her husband.
Yeah, just straight cold-blooded murder.
But she got instant karma.
Yeah.
So, she deserved it. Any cons?
Not really. We can nitpick and say, the 70s decor was awful, but you can't really call that a con.
I thought the acting was decent.
Yeah.
Really, for the time. And I think the only con was just the stories got weaker as it went on.
Yeah, I think maybe the 2 really short ones you probably take out and make the better ones longer. That'd be the only criticism I would have.
Something like that. I really enjoyed the movie as a whole. I'd watch it again. And I think it did actually give pretty good reviews. You can watch it on YouTube. You can watch it on Tubi. I think there's enough people who's uploaded on YouTube that you can get it without ads. That'd be better.
Yeah.
And what do you want to score this thing?
I'm stuck between a 3.5 and 3 3/4.
Yeah. I'm kind of right in there too. I think I'll give it a 3 3/4 for what it was and the time period, because you're predating your past Psycho. I haven't watched a lot of horror from the 60s and 70s. Maybe other people out there can this is either right before, or this is right before Last House on the Left and The Hills Have Eyes, and
the gory 70s, baby.
This is the 2 years before Texas Chainsaw Massacre, so before Halloween, and it's a little bit different anthology, but it kind of started all that stuff. And for early 70s horror, I liked it.
Yeah.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, it was pretty good. We'll go 3 3/4 across the board.
I think 3 3/4 is fair out of 5 for sure. Anything else you want to say?
No. Really enjoyed this one. We might look into Creepshow or some of these other anthologies.
I'd like to do Body Bags or something.
Body Bags, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool down there. Let us know if you want to see those. Let us know in the comments below what you think of Tales from the Crypt. If you watch it, let us know what your favorite short story out of that is, those shorts. And be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss anything in the future. What we got for 63?
For 63, we're going to talk some Sean Connery.
Sean Connery.
Some Outland.
Oh, Outland. Yay.
Some Western in space, basically.
Yeah, basically. Okay, well, until then,
we're out of here.